Okay, everyone. So last night I was up all night tossing and turning. I really feel like I was feeling the energy from the solar eclipse. And as I was laying in my bed, I just kept thinking to myself that I have to have a conversation with my fellow caretakers, my fellow caregivers, my fellow community builders. I am on fire. I am on fire today. So, today is a solar eclipse, and a solar eclipse is this beautiful dance, this beautiful intersection of the power of the sun and the power of the moon, the beauty of the sun and the beauty of the moon coming together in this space of unity, if you will, right? In this moment of visible oneness, right? They're always dancing and connecting and relating to each other, whether it's an eclipse or not. And, the sun and the moon in so many different spiritual traditions represent the masculine and the feminine, represent these beautiful energies of giving and receiving, these beautiful energies of creativity and rest, these beautiful energies of emotions and groundedness and rootedness and all of these energies again together with each other. And so in this day, I felt this deep call for balance and a deep call towards harmony, especially in our economy, right? I was up all night thinking about the transformations that are in front of us. We are in a powerful time in the history of the universe. I believe that. We are seeing rapid transformation in this time, right? That can be really intense to digest. Rapid technological transformation, rapid transformation with the age of artificial intelligence. We're also seeing rapid transformation in terms of our climate and our environment, and that is requiring us as humanity to reinterrogate and reform and heal our relationship to the environment and how we create an economy that can be regenerative for the environment rather than extractive for the environment. So we are in a time of deep transformation that is required, and that's almost inevitable, okay? And what I was receiving the message last night that I was feeling was that as we are navigating this powerful moment of change, we need something to ground us, right? Change can be so overwhelming. Change can cause fear, insecurity. When we're feeling these moments of transformation, sometimes it can bring up doubt, it can bring up violence, it can bring up hostility, it can bring up the space of retreat, and I have to go into my tribe and you go into your tribe and I go into my home and you go into your home, and we're gonna battle it out for resources versus this opening, versus this trust, versus this connection. And so as we're navigating this transformation, I thought to myself, what can help us use this time of power transformation towards harmony, towards balance, moving towards love and care? How can we do that instead of having this time of transformation lead to more fear and lead to more violence? And the thing that I've been guided to, or that I'm feeling inside, is that we need to be rooted and grounded and centered on care. This is our time. If you are a caretaker or a caregiver, this is our time to rise and to demonstrate the power of care, to ground us and to help us build the beloved community that so many of us have been dreaming of for centuries, for millennia. We've been yearning for care. We've been yearning for beloved community. We've been learning to have our social life, our cultural life, our material life reflect the love and abundance that we know as true in the spiritual realm and in the natural world as well, right? And I believe again that caretakers and caregivers are going to play a central role and have to play a central role at this moment. This is our moment to rise up. First, who is a caretaker? Who is a caregiver? So my background is in early childhood education, is in childcare. I am a proud childcare worker. I no longer am an active childcare worker today, but I still identify as a childcare worker because it absolutely shaped the person, the human, the woman that I am today. It is always with me. It is in my spirit, in my soul. I bring that energy with me every single day. And I have a legacy of that work, not just in my own lifetime, but in generations before me. I have a legacy of beautiful, joyful, creative, dynamic childcare work. And I'm proud of that. So certainly if you are a childcare worker, that is caretaking and caregiving. If you are not a worker at all, but from a family perspective or a community perspective, you give care, right? And you take care of others from that perspective, but outside of the realm of your work or your paid profession. I'm speaking to you. Certainly if you are an educator, I know so many educators that work in the K through 12 context or the higher ed context reject this idea of caretaking sometimes because no one wants to feel like, I'm just a babysitter. But I hate that language of just a babysitter, because what kind of society demeans caring for babies and caring for children? That is literally the most important work in society. Those are the most vulnerable years of humanity. Those are the years that we help human beings feel safe and secure and develop their brains and develop their ability to process information, digest emotions. It's not something to be dismissed. And so for me, if you are an educator, the care that you give to your students, the environment of community that you're able to create in your classroom or your learning context, absolutely is central to your work, is a part of your power, and is not something to be rejected, and it's not something for other people to dismiss. So I invite you, educators, K through 12 educators, you are a caretaker, you are a caregiver as well. Certainly if you work in the healthcare professions, whether that's physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, right? You are a caretaker. You are a caregiver, our healers, right? All of us, if we are people who center ourselves and center our lives and center our work around care. This is an opportunity for us to say, we want an economy, we want a society, we want a world that prioritizes care, that is organized around the principle and the reality and the practice of care. Okay, one of the things that I think is very interesting. So again, we're in this age of artificial intelligence, and we're going to see rapid transformation and rapid growth with these new technologies, which I personally feel like, yes, there are challenges in front of us, but there are also great opportunities. It's a tool. Technology is a tool, and we can choose to leverage it and use it towards our collective well-being, towards our collective societal goals. But the only way we're going to do that, again, is if everybody gets to have a voice in the world that we want to create. That's the only way we're going to be able to use these tools for good. And so, I believe that caregivers, we have to be able to say, hey, there is an intangible that we have to invest in. It is not acceptable that we live in a world of incredible abundance. And yet when it comes time for caregiving work, we can't find the budget. How are we ever going to pay for that, right? When I worked in the child care field and we would do these cost of care studies or these cost of quality studies, and people would see, wow, it costs a lot of money to care for children. It costs a lot of money to educate children in a way that is quality, that is rooted in our humanity, that feels good for children and for caregivers and for parents, right? It costs a lot of money because you shouldn't have classrooms filled with children, right? They should feel like intimate, warm, grounded spaces. And once you see the budget for that, people would oftentimes say, oh, we can't afford that. It just costs too much. We don't have the money for that. We don't have the budget for that. That is not acceptable. And as caregivers, we can't accept that rhetoric because it's not true, right? It is not true. We do have the money. There are other countries and other economies that have made the commitment to care work, whether that's childcare, whether that's K through 12 education, whether that's universal health care, right? Access to mental health resources. We have a choice in front of us as a society, as societies around the world? What kind of communities do we want to create? I believe it's so interesting. I've been watching a lot of videos lately about the loneliness epidemic, right? And, people are feeling, we have a mental health crisis right now: anxiety, depression, isolation, fear, violence, right? Which then we also see having these deaths of despair. We have physical health challenges in so many of the countries, and especially Western countries around the world. To me, it's no coincidence that we have a loneliness epidemic in societies that have not invested in care and have not centered care as an organizing principle in their economy. You can't tell me that these two things are disconnected. You can't tell me that in a society that encourages children to be taken away from their primary caregivers within days or weeks of their birth, right? That we don't have a paid parental leave. So in the United States of America, a guaranteed paid parental leave for everyone. And you can't tell me that there's not a connection between the lack of paid parental leave, the lack of high quality childcare, and the loneliness epidemic or the mental health crisis that we're seeing amongst young people. These things are connected, right? These things are absolutely connected. And so if we are going to get to experience the peace, the collective well-being that we so desperately need in our world and that we want to see in our world, it is going to be up to caregivers and caretakers to rise up, to use our voices, and to say no more. Our work is important. We are not going to watch our children, our elders, our sick, anyone who is in need of care. We're no longer going to watch them be pushed aside through our work. Because if you devalue a caregiver and a caretaker, you are also devaluing the human being that they are taking care of. Okay? You are devaluing both of them. And so as caregivers and caretakers, we cannot allow ourselves, our bodies, our spirits, our work to be devalued anymore. We have to rise up and stand up for the work that we know is so critical, so then we can rise up and stand up for our collective well-being, for the children, for the elders, for everyone. We have to do it. This is our time. Always been interested in this concept of power and how various societies and cultures conceptualize power. What is power? What does it mean? Who is powerful? Who is not powerful? Who's powerless? All of these things. I've been very curious about this since college. And I remember when I was in college, I initially started my research around mass media, right? And thinking about mass media as a space of power, and filmmaking and media and television, right? Like, these people are able to reach millions of people at a time. That is power, to be able to share a message or share a story or shape thinking and shape language at that scale. And so I was very interested in that. And as I was doing that, at the same time, I was doing a work study in college at a childcare center, right? And it was also this space where we're using language, we're using stories to shape thinking and to shape minds, but it was on a much more intimate level, and it was physical, right? Like, I could feel the impact that I was having on each child, and I could feel the impact they were having on me. And it really challenged what I imagined as power, right? Certainly, there's so much power, again, in any type of mass communication, whether that's YouTube, social media, mass media, film, television, yes, there is incredible power there. There is incredible power in, people think about scaling, right? Businesses that reach millions and billions of people, or that circulate millions and billions of dollars. Yes, there is power there. But there's also this power in the small. There's also this power in that one-to-one relationship. And you can really feel that power on a visceral and physical level. And one of the things that I realized at that time is that they're both powerful and they're both important, and it's not one or the other, right? When we are growing and developing as human beings, right? The research of human development. It's not only a story of powerful institutions, right? If you look throughout history, you think about hegemony, right? But this idea of like, yes, there are these powerful institutions that shape our world, shape our practices, shape our experiences. And also there's always that resistance that lives inside of us. There's always that human spirit. There's always those one-to-one grassroots conversations that can also kind of bubble up transformation and bubble up ideas. Both are important. Both are powerful. So I believe that it's very important for us as caretakers and caregivers to recognize the power that we carry, right? A nurse is just as powerful as the Surgeon General, energetically. A childcare worker is just as powerful as a governor who is shaping policy, right? Because we are doing the work on the ground. There's no work without us. We can never, let's not dim our power. Let's not buy into stories that make us feel powerless. Let's not buy into stories that say, oh, I'm just a teacher. Oh, I'm just a childcare worker. I'm just a preschool teacher. I'm just a nurse. I'm just a CNA. No. You are on the ground doing the work of community healing. You are a change maker. There is no change without you. You are the one on the ground, intimately doing the change work. You are incredibly powerful, and we cannot allow ourselves to buy into narratives that seek to dim our light. Because again, our communities need our light. Our communities need us to step fully into our power and to show up fully in the beauty of the work that we do. One of the last things that I want to touch on is that caregiving work and caretaking work is deeply spiritual work. It has the power to transform us from the inside out. And it also has the power to transform the receiver of that care, right? Isn't that beautiful that both the giver and the receiver of the care are engaged in this relationship, this dialectical relationship of transformation, of healing, that we both get to be healed in this experience of care, giving and receiving that care. When I think about my time in the classroom, I was able to be in classrooms in Korea, in Singapore, in, public housing communities in Nashville, in low-income communities in New York, in wealthy communities in California, right? I've taught and gave care in so many different contexts. I've also been a caregiver in a family context, right? Caregiving for sick family members. And those moments are the moments when I see the true beauty of what it means to be human. Those are the moments when I can feel the fullness of my humanity, feel the spectacularness of human dignity, right? Those moments of care. Caretaking it feels like, even when I'm talking, there's still a quietness and a gentleness. When I'm in the classroom, for example, with children, young children, even if I'm reading a story, there's this like quiet hum in the background, and I can feel the children's love and their attention, and I can feel them kind of receiving, right? And I can also feel myself receiving, because I'm receiving their love as much as I'm giving love. Right? And I remember being in the classroom, and every single day I would go into the classroom, and my goal was that each and every child would know that they are loved, and that they could go home at the end of the day feeling like I'm safe in this world, I'm loved, I'm cared for, I'm not alone in this world. I wanted them to go home with that so that they could have that as their foundation for their life. That was my mission as a caregiver. And I wanted their parents to feel supported and loved and cared for. I wanted them to feel like they weren't alone in the really hard journey of parenting. I wanted them to feel like they had a village. And that was a spiritual calling and a spiritual experience. It required presence. I had to be in the here and the now, moment to moment, really being a vessel for that love. And I know that my nurses, my healthcare professionals, my healers, whatever context that you're doing this caretaking work in, I know that you're feeling that presence. And when you're in that presence, that is a spiritual moment. That is a miraculous moment. And there's a power in that, right? There is a power in receiving and cultivating that love. There is a power in that care that, again, we can leverage to change this world. We can leverage that power to create a world rooted in care. We can leverage that power, that love power, to bring about more and more peace in our world. I believe that. I believe that. We have, again, the powerful elite folks who we love. I'm sending love to everybody, honey. But we can't let anyone make us feel like they have all the power. They don't. We carry an immense power that it's time that we join together, bring that power together, rise up and say, it's time for an economy rooted in care. It's time for the social safety net. We have to have a social safety net that supports people, that creates communities of belonging, communities of well-being as we navigate these challenges, right? Transition is beautiful and miraculous, and it also has challenges. And we need the social safety net more than ever. And it is the caregivers who rise up together who will bring about the social safety net. It is the caregivers who say, we demand paid parental leave around the world for everyone, not only for the privileged, societies and countries. We demand universal health care for our world, shaped by each community in their own image. We demand schools that are rooted in care and love and community and connection, that yes can bring in innovation and technology and all that beautiful stuff, but that also still remain relational, right? Again, shaped in the own image of those unique communities and those unique contexts. Hey, we demand that. We can stop devaluing ourselves. We can stop devaluing our brothers and our sisters. So again, if you're a nurse, don't look at a childcare worker and say, well, what do? They just watch kids all day. They don't deserve that money. If you are an educator, don't look at a nurse and say, oh my gosh, look at this horrible. No. It's time that we unite, that we elevate each other, that we see each other, even in the imperfections of it all, because there's imperfection in every industry and every field. There's opportunities for growth in every industry, every field. But let's call each other into those opportunities of growth and stand with each other, unite our power, and co-create the social safety net. We need you. We need you. We need you. We need you. I'm going to close now because I could talk about this all day long, but I want to offer deep gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for doing the work that you do. Thank you for loving your community. Thank you for the care that you share and circulate. And may you receive care from others, from your community. May society care for you as much as you've cared for us. May we use money as a tool for our collective well-being. May we use our genius, our intelligence for collective well-being. May we be united towards a vision of beloved community. Thank you. Peace be with you today.